Oh, there it goes. There we go. Very good. Good afternoon, everybody. First work session of 22, voting session. It's last work session. A handful of bills, mostly the departmentals. We're going to start with Senate Bill 40, which was actually Senator Hester's and mine.
Senate Bill 40 came in involving the Interagency Commission on School Construction and the use of the Build to Learn funds for systemic renovations. What the bill does is basically would stipulate and clarify that systemic renovations of any cost are eligible for funding. The background on this is apparently IAC was kind of bundling projects and aiming for a $4 million grouping cost, and this would say regardless of the cost. There was some testimony from the Anne Arundel County Public School System suggesting an amendment of establishing a limit that the construction cost has to be at least $100,000, which is consistent with current IAC posted guidance on systemic renovation projects.
And the sponsors are happy to take that, by the way.
Okay.
Anybody have any questions about this? You understand what's going on?
Unfavorable.
Second.
Okay. On the amendment, all those in favor of the amendment?
Aye.
Opposed? And on the bill?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Very good. Okay, 109, Senator Elfreth.
Senate Bill 109 is the vehicle excise tax exemption for active duty military members. Specifically, the bill exempts from the vehicle excise tax a vehicle that was formerly titled and registered in another state by a member of the military who is returning from active duty and moving into the state.
Questions?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Senator Elfreth will have that one, of course. And I'll have the one before that. 114.
Okay, for Senate Bill 114, you all should have a reprint on your desk with a rather small amendment that was offered by the sponsor of the bill. What this does is in instances where the state law provides for prosecution and collection of damages for any false claims committed by people using state funds, the sponsor testified, and the current state law is that any civil penalty or damages collected would go to the general fund. What this bill does is instead, if the original funds for perhaps the contract or whatever the subject of the fraud was, were special funds, then this bill would require any collection of damages to go back to that particular special fund. The amendment would clarify on page 2 and page 3. On page 2, it's lines 15. It really just looks like a clarifying amendment to me. The funds that are under the jurisdiction of the Board of Trustees for the State Retirement and Pension System.
Okay. Senator McCrae's got a question.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I just wanted to bring up opportunity for discussion, just hear the body's thoughts. I've dealt with this respective agency in reference to false claims. I've dealt with them within the last 12 months.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear. What agency?
I said I've dealt with the Attorney General's office, the false claims division piece of it. And there's one person that works in it to handle all of the false claims. I just wanted to make sure to bring that to the body's attention. On average, they're doing about 20 to 30 cases a year, 26 last year, fiscal year 2022. The challenge is that sometimes there's an opportunity where some cases may not be met because there's only one person that's handling all of these cases. I think that as we have this discussion about resources going back to the agency, which I have no problem with, I do think that we also have to think about the person that is taking on all these cases and whether that agency is resourced enough properly. Because, you know, when I look back at it, I think that $1, so $1 that comes out of that agency actually brings back $8 from that standpoint. So keep in mind, we got one person handling this division. I was hoping for an opportunity to maybe address that inside this bill, but wanted to hear the body's posture and thoughts.
What is, so have you talked to, I mean, you've dealt with that one person, but have you talked to the Attorney General's office in general?
I can reach out to I haven't talked to the Attorney General's office. The bill, I think, was heard yesterday or the day before yesterday, and quickly wanted to.
Let's put it on hold
Okay.
and give you a chance to explore that a little bit.
All right.
Okay, you're all gonna have to help me on the next ones, all these departmentals. As you may recall, I had to leave for another meeting, so I actually missed the hearing on all of these, so I'm counting on you all, to get us through this. Okay, 179, energy performance contracts, duration.
Senate Bill 179, this is a departmental that would extend the duration period from 15 to 30 years for an energy performance contract. The testimony given at the hearing was that with the longer authorized period, they'd be able to engage in different types of energy performance contracts, things like HVAC units or projects that have a longer lifespan than that 15 years for the recovery of the energy savings costs related to the project.
Great to me, I move favorable.
And what's, yeah, doesn't seem like there's a downside. Everybody remember this? Okay. I hear the motion. Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
181.
All right, Senate Bill 181 is a bill out of the State Department of Assessments and Taxation dealing with the homeowner's property tax credit, specifically about the application timing. And this one, current law has basically a grace period for individuals over 70 years old that they have kind of a 3-year look back for purposes of applying for the homeowner's tax credit. This bill from the department is suggesting that regardless of age, it establishes a 1-year grace period if the homeowner is applying for the first time or has a 3-year history of being eligible for it prior to that. So essentially a scenario of a one-time missed application with the history of applying for it in the past.
One time. This is the homeowner's property tax. Yeah.
Yeah, this is a great bill. I'm sorry. This is a great bill. And basically, that and a couple of other bills came out of the work of the Ombudsman's office in SDAT, working with community groups about people who were not getting the credit, basically low-income elderly people, because of these kind of rules. So they came up with a series of reforms to make sure that people have a better chance of getting the credits they're entitled to.
Great.
So I'd move favorable.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? 183.
183, this is another departmental. This is a bill that would add clarifying language that executive branch agencies are required to advise Department of Information Technology regarding any proposals involving sale, lease, exchange, or disposition of communication sites, facilities, or frequencies. Those arrangements sometimes are involved in resource sharing agreements where some of the revenue goes to a fund managed by DoIT. So this bill is adding clarifying language, conforming that DoIT's supposed to be kept in the loop regarding these arrangements.
It's all internal.
Yeah.
Why do we need a bill for them to do stuff internally? I don't get that, but, I mean, is there, I mean, other than,
I assume it's not happening consistently.
Mr. Chairman, I mean, they didn't address that, but I can easily see that there are agencies who are like,
Right.
well, I didn't say I have to do it.
right,
That's
but you,
what it is.
no, I hear you. I just can't imagine that the governor's office can't say, you guys do it. Yeah, yeah.
I can't imagine it. Anyway.
Okay. Is there a motion? All those in favor? Opposed? Okay. 187. We're gonna hold. 194.
194 is a departmental dealing with tax sales. So under current law, after a tax sale, there's basically a 4-month grace period for certain expenses to be added to the redemption amount. The bill extends it to 6 months. If you don't mind, I'd actually recommend holding this. There's an issue I want to just clarify. The effective date is October 1, but a lot of these sales, based on the timeline, I'm not sure how that actually relates to how this bill would apply. It may need some
That's
clarification.
fine, but can you give me, I remember looking at this a while ago when it first came in, and I was a little bit, it was a little unclear. So this is to give the homeowner the ability to redeem it for another, was it 2 months, did you say?
Yeah, it would give another, it would basically align that grace period, so giving an additional 2 months. Baltimore City is already at 7 months for certain properties, but this would extend it from 4 to 6 months for everything else, which basically aligns it with
Yep.
the timeline for filing the foreclosure action.
Yep, sounds good. Why don't you figure out what needs to be done?
Okay.
197.
Senate Bill 197 is also out of SDAT, this time applying to the homestead tax credit program. Essentially doing the same thing as the prior bill, which is a 1-year grace period where you can apply and get a retroactive credit calculated as though you had been eligible at that time.
Move favorable.
All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Great. 201.
All right, 201 is, I believe, the final one on today's calendar out of SDAT. This one, the testimony was about basically modernizing the way that they store their data for purposes of assessment, and it would authorize them to digitize it and store it digitally, as well as also for them to periodically transfer things to the State Department of Archives to retain them. 2 things I just want to pull out of here that's really the department describes as kind of code cleanup. Page 2 of the bill, you can see they do strike they have a list of things that can be used as aids to assess property. 2 of those items on the list is land classification maps and unit value maps. This bill is striking those 2. The department is saying that there are obsolete methods and they haven't been used since the 80s, and the Department of Planning actually now houses all of the maps. So in their view, this is just kind of cleaning up their code for current practices, in addition to the digitizing.
Move favorable.
Second? All those in favor? Opposed? We're good?
This is a microphone, moving into the 20th century.
Right. 210.
Senate Bill 210 is it's a bill dealing with the employer-provided commuter benefits tax credit. The bill expands the existing list of benefits that qualify for the tax credit to include carpools, walking and biking to work, teleworking, and multimodal commuting. As the
Oops, sorry, go ahead.
the bill expands the benefits that are eligible for the tax credit to those four things: walking and biking expenses, carpool expenses, teleworking expenses, and multimodal transportation.
You mean those things weren't included before? I mean, maybe the biking I get, but all those other things are the basis of commuting.
Yeah, no, currently, it's under current law, the benefits are publicly or privately owned mass transit travel, van pool programs, cash in lieu of parking programs, and guaranteed ride home programs.
Is there a note on this?
I don't think,
Would be a big guess, I'm sure.
yeah, I think it's significant, yeah, but it's not, they didn't put, fiscal notes didn't put a number on it, just
Did they say significant?
significant beginning in fiscal 2023.
Senator McCray?
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chair. I did this bill 5 years ago, and when we did this bill in the House 5 years ago, we looked at it from, like you said, parking, the shuttle vans, the bus passes, and I couldn't get to my button quick enough, but I wanted to ask the agency in reference to like quantify, like how do you quantify walking? Like, is it walking gear? Is it walking headband? Like, I also couldn't really understand the telework piece of it, like what's everything that's inclusive with the telework? It's my computer, is it my keyboard, is it these types of things? So I wanted to get with the agency to really understand how do they quantify. I get bicycling, my bicycle is how I get my tax write-off, but I don't understand the other stuff. It's pretty loose, and I wanted to see where their thinking was.
Shoes.
I get shoes, but they may say that it's a little bit more than shoes.
Michael Jordan's or? Right. Senator Stalling?
So just to say, I think it would be much better and more, I guess, to say defined, if they could maybe bring something like that to us, maybe something to define it even better. For the good senator saying over there, I think we could even know better, much more about the bill. So.
That's fine. We'll hold it. You got a lot of homework now. All right. This one I do remember. I must have heard this one. 215.
Senate Bill 215 is a bill related to the energy storage tax credit. The bill extends the energy storage tax credit for 2 additional tax years, and then it also increases the amount of tax credits that MEA can issue, and it brings the cap up to $1 million. And then beginning in tax year 2023, the credits will become refundable to the taxpayer. So those are the 3 things that this bill does.
Questions? Motion? All those in favor? Opposed? All right. That concludes our work session for today. Did you have something to say? Oh, I thought you were good. Okay. You shut it down? Yep.